Welcome in, wrestling fans, to the PA Power Hour. I am Jeff Upson. I'm going to be joined by Paul Myers and Tyler Morder. We are going to break down the PIAA Class AA state bracket. We're going to go through all the brackets, give our predictions, kind of look at some of the best first-round matches, and so on and so forth. So it's going to be a long show, so buckle up, get a drink. And Tyler, I'm glad you could join us. I know you just jumped on while we were doing our 5-minute countdown, so I'm glad to see you.
Yeah, good to be here. Nice night of wrestling to talk about.
And Paul, you're here,
Here I am.
ready to go. Okay. So we're gonna start at 107. We're just gonna go through. Actually, before we do that, I wanted to talk a little bit about the prestige points because this was something that a lot of people had asked. In the last couple of days is about how the seeds, and I'll use the term seeds because these aren't seeds; these are predetermined brackets, and they're based off of the regional champs being placed in the bracket. So what I'm going to do is put up what that actually looks like. So the first criteria is no regional champions shall meet in the first round. Regional champions and runner-up shall not meet until the final. So that means you're separated across the bracket. Um, all the regional champions are ranked utilizing a formula which includes combination of winning percentage and the prestige points. That's it, right? So if you come down here to criteria one is your record, right? So if you're undefeated, you get 100 points, right? And based on how your record is. The second criteria is your prestige points. Now the key here is this is only based on last season's regional or state placement. So you get 100 points for being a state champion, all the way down to 40 points for a regional fourth place. Two key things here. One is this is only applicable to the regional champions. If you did not win your region, these criteria mean nothing to you because this is only for the regional champions. Second point being, you take that combined score, your winning percentage score and your prestige point score, you add it together, and that gives you a number, right? All those regional champions are then sorted highest to lowest, and they're put in the bracket, so on and so forth. So based off of how they are placed in the bracket, then determines how the other kids are placed in the bracket. Because if your Northeast regional champ is the quote 1 seed, obviously the Northeast 2 can't be on that same side. So it kind of breaks it down, fills it in from there. Paul, anything to add on that other than you don't like it? I know.
Okay.
Is there anything
No,
you?
that's it. You
Yeah,
broke it down for all the people that don't know.
Tyler.
No, I mean it's just the formula that they have out there, and kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
There's a couple things that I think are wrong with this. I'm fine with giving points to only last year because an injury can do a lot for a person. So you could be a regional fourth one year and then come back the next year and just not be the same.
mhm.
The Okay, so number one, you only get points if you're a regional fourth or better. So let's just say you were a district champ last year, ranked top 8 in the state, or probably going to place at states and whatever, but you get hurt at regionals. So then you don't have any chance to get any prestige points. Number two is they don't use head to heads to reseed the bracket.
Yeah.
So um I know off the top of my head, let's just use 215. Landon Tucker beat Landon Erdman.
hmm
They're a 2 and 3 seed. I'm not saying that it's going to make a difference for the semis, but it makes a difference for all the other placements in the bracket.
Right.
So um I don't think it would take too much to figure out the head to heads to change a 2-3, a 1-4, a 4-2. Um, I just, every other tournament does it. Why wouldn't your state tournament do it?
Well, yeah, and I think the counter argument there is, say they split matches, right? I mean, then do you go with the highest points? Do you even Do we even consider the points? Um,
Well,
you know,
if they split matches, then you just go straight back to the points.
yeah, right, right. But if
But
there's a head-to-head
if
result
yeah,
where, yeah, I totally, I get that, and I think there should be that third criteria, which is used when you have an inter-district championship, and that's where you look at the strength of schedule, right? So if you've beaten a state champion, if you've beaten a state medalist, you get some points for that, or there's head to heads, right? So um, it makes for a little bit more balanced and equal bracket, um, but it's not gonna. It's until they actually seed it the straight through. I mean, I think we're always going to have some issues, right? So, and even when you
well,
seed it, obviously
that's
people are
never
going to
going
be
to happen.
upset.
So
I know it's never going to happen, so that's why I don't want to waste much time talking about it, because people get all up in arms about it, but there's nothing you can do about it, so just move on, right? So,
yeah.
um, on that note, let's move on. So let's start at 107 pounds. At the top, you've got Nathan Schumann, who is a returning state qualifier. He is currently ranked number 3 in the state from Honesdale, a sophomore. At the bottom half of the bracket, you have Van Ward, who is a senior, one of those rare seniors from Union City, who is a state qualifier from last year. He's on the bottom half. So is Cooper Deputy, who is number 1 in the nation, number 1 in the state. He's undefeated at 48-0, right? So this goes to that same analogy, right? Where you have the number 1 kid in the nation who's 48-0. He's on the bottom half of the bracket, right? So not necessarily great for a guy like Van Ward, who is a regional champion, and has Cooper Deputy right out of the gate. But I want to start, guys. What are some of the more favorable first round matchups that you have highlighted here at 107 pounds?
At 107, I would say like my best first round matchup would be Brandon Eisenhower and then Riley Crandall.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That's
that would be my.
Eisenhower is number 4 in the state currently. Crandall is 7. So you got a top 10 matchup right out of the gate. Eisenhower is a state qualifier from last year, finished very high at the Powerade tournament, has had a really good season. He just has lost to Schumann a number of times already this year. Crandall, Tyler, you can speak on Crandall because you're the Southeast regional expert, but those Faith Christian kids have been hard to rank this year a little bit because
Yeah,
we
the
haven't seen them a lot of head-to-heads.
Yeah, Faith wrestled a lot of out-of-state schedules, so you didn't really get the head-to-heads in the Southeast region as much this year. But they do wrestle a tough schedule, so I mean, he's going to be battle tested and ready for the grind.
So if you look at Mason Kiesecker, where he is, Kiesecker has already had a win over Javenti of St. Mary's. He beat him at the Ultimate Warrior, which Tyler is sporting the Ultimate Warrior shirt. You're not going to be able to see it because we have the brackets up, but Kiesecker teched him before. What do you think of that quarterfinal matchup potentially with Kiesecker and Schumann, Paul?
I mean, that was a hard one for me to pick.
Yeah.
I think Schumann's had a great year. I really think that him being back at States kind of gives him the edge over a freshman. I mean, it's always hard to wrestle the first time at States, but I mean, he has good wins all year long too. So, I mean, that's why I gave him the edge there, but I think it's going to be a great match.
Tyler?
Yeah, I agree. I think that'll be a great match, but based off common opponents, I'm giving the edge to Schumann. They have a common opponent of Crandall, which
Mm-hmm.
Kiesecker beat 4-2, and Crandall Tech fought him, and then also Eisenhower. Schumann has 3 bonus point victories over Eisenhower, while Kiesecker has a 7-0 decision.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I looked at that Tech fall at the Coal Cracker tournament that we streamed as a pretty big indicator there. Schumann the matchup that I'm looking forward to is Pandy and Schumann. I think Arav Pandy from Trinity is going to make it out to the semifinals. I didn't have a ton of issues going through and picking Schumann to make the semifinals against Pandy. um, I did have a hard time picking a winner there because right now the rankings show Pandy at 2, Schumann at 3, but I think that could be easily flipped. Um, I think Schumann could make a case that he could be number 2.
See, one of the big things that separated me to pick Schumann over Pandy was the size.
Yeah.
Um, Pandy's relatively small for a 107 pounder. Schumann started the season and wrestled some of the season at, I mean, a big 114 pounder.
Mm-hmm.
So that was, I mean, ultimately my flip of the coin decision there.
And looking at common opponents, they both have tech fall wins over Riley Crandall, right?
Riley
So Faith,
Crandall, yeah.
yeah. So I mean, Schumann teched him in 5 minutes. Pandy teched him in 3 minutes. Pandy beat Eisenhower 7-1. We already talked about what Schumann did to Eisenhower. So I think really the size and also the style matchups. If you look at it, Pandy he can slow down anybody. Which is really what I think is going to become key here. And he, Dom Deputy, or excuse me, Cooper Deputy and Pandy have all had a lot of success on the freestyle circuit too. So that kind of gives me, you look at some of these results from freestyle, not that they matter a lot, but I think Schumann's definitely somebody that can make the finals and potentially win it. But I'm certainly not going to pick against Cooper Deputy. If you look on that bottom half, do you feel like is there anybody that can stop Cooper Deputy from making the finals here?
No.
No.
No. I like the short
Nah.
and quick. Just no. There's no one here. I mean, there's some decent first round matchups. I'm excited to see if Van Ward can make the semis. I think Blake Klipp is a pretty tough senior. He's committed to Bloomsburg. I'm not sure what he's going to be able to do at this stage, but I agree with you. I think Cooper Deputy is on a different level. That Eisenhower Crandall winner may be his toughest opponent.
In the
Yeah.
bottom, yes.
Yeah, I agree. I
Right.
agree.
So what do you guys have for picks? We got to hear your picks. Paul, who do you got finishing where?
So I have Deputy 1, Schumann 2, Pandy 3, Keysecker 4, Eisenhower 5, Clip 6, Bonnie 7,
Oh,
Ward
geez,
8.
going all the way out. I like it. I'm only going to give top 4 because I'm not about that life of going all the way
Well,
through.
everybody's a state place winner, Jeff.
Everyone's a state place. Tyler, what do you got? Who do you have? Top four, can you
I
give us
have
your top
I have
4?
I got the top 4. I got Deputy, Schumann, Pandy, and Crandall.
Okay. Um, I
I have
have
Crandall losing to Keysecker for.
Or I meant Keysecker. I'm sorry, Keysecker.
Oh,
so repeat that. What do you got? You have deputy.
Deputy,
Mm-hmm.
Schumann,
Yeah,
Pandy, Keysecker.
gotcha.
1, 2, 3, 4.
who do you have for 5, 6, 7, 8?
I didn't go out that far.
Dude, you guys don't even fill out your whole bracket.
I haven't had time to go through the entire bracket to go through and give
Jeff, if I had time to go through my whole bracket, you have time to go through yours.
I mean, I just updated 3 sets of state rankings in the matter of 24 hours. That's 30 wrestlers times 13. It's a lot. That's a lot of wrestlers. I have Pandy making the finals on the top half and wrestling Dom, or I keep on saying Dom Cooper. I have Cooper beating Arav Pandy in the finals, and I have Schumann taking third.
Who do you have taking fourth?
Keysecker.
So just flopping 2 and 3.
Yeah. A lot of good matches here potentially, but I think Cooper is established himself as the top guy here, right? I mean, just based off his results this year, I feel like he's, but the interesting part is, he and Pandy are always really tight.
He can
Beat
slow him
Pandy
down.
in the PJW state finals last year in Ultimate Tiebreaker.
Ultimate tiebreaker. He beat him this year at Powerade 1-0, right? I mean, something about Pandy, Cooper just kind of he slows down a little bit. If Pandy opens up, I think things are a little bit different. I think Cooper can, but I think Arav is thinking, don't let him get to his offense and try to win this in ultimate tiebreaker. Um,
I think if Pandy opens up, then it gives Cooper a wider score.
agree. So do I. I agree with you. I think if Pandy wrestles, I think Cooper beats him by more than one. But if he's if he slows it down, I think we're going to see another ultimate tiebreaker or tiebreaker match. I'll tell you this though, Schumann has beaten Cooper in freestyle before in the last year or so. So Schumann will be a tough out for him. So I even though you're the number one in the nation, as we saw with Landon Sidden a couple days ago, it doesn't
You're
guarantee
not hidden
anything.
in Pennsylvania.
No, not in Pennsylvania, right? Um, so yeah, our best first round matchup: Crandall and Eisenhower. I think we all picked Cooper Deputy and a variation of Pandy or Schumann to make the finals there. Any final thoughts on 107 before we go to 114? All right,
Nope.
let's go to 114. So 114 pounds at the top, we've got Braden Lottier of Bishop McDevitt, 44-1, state champion from last year. Also on the bottom half is our quote 2 seed is Chase Karenbauer. Now this goes back to Paul's thought process is Karenbauer is 42-0, but he has a win over Lodier at the Powerade tournament, right? Powerade finals. Very close match, right? That I think you could have flipped a coin and one of those wrestlers would have, they could have split 50-50. But that's where they stand. Xander Wilson is the 3rd seed from Williamson, and Patrick Bolger of Derry is the number 4 seed. So, Tyler, I'll start with you. What are some of the best first round matches that you have here at 114?
I think this bracket's pretty deep.
Yeah.
One that sticks out to me is Carter Ickes and Cruz Little,
Mm-hmm.
and then uh, Isaiah Shickley, Javian Chambers, and then also Cody Householder and Gabe Oberheim.
I would agree with you, and Paul, and I believe you probably agree. When you look at the 2 freshmen, that was the first thing that I saw when these guys jumped off the map here is Cody Householder and Gabe Oberheim, 2 very, very accomplished freshmen. Oberheim is number 6 in the state. Householder is number 7 in the state. Both have had really good quality wins this season. Oberheim has lost to Xander Wilson from Williamson a few times. Xander Wilson's a returning state qualifier. But that's a really good battle there. To be honest with you, I think the winner there of Householder and Oberheim has a good chance to make the semifinals potentially. Patrick
I agree.
Bolger he's had a good year, a really good year for Derry, especially considering he started the year like around 100 pounds or so. But Bolger's going to have a tough path because he's likely going to get Cameron Smith of Trinity. Who's a returning state medalist, right? So I think that top half, there's a lot of landmines, I guess you could say. I even like Rowan Humphrey and Cale Kimmy. Both are guys that have been to the state tournament before. I'm excited to see what William Edwards can do from West Branch as a freshman. But yeah, this top half has a lot of excitement, which starts right away with a freshman Householder and Oberheim.
Yeah, I mean, the other matchup in the first round that I was thinking of, other than what Morder said, was Bolger and Smith.
Yeah.
Bolger's had a good season. He's a regional champ. And as a regional champ, you are lucky enough to get a returning state place winner in the first round. So,
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I really think this weight is very deep. A lot of unknowns with a bunch of freshmen mixed in there, some seniors. I think this one's going to be a fun one to watch from the gate.
Yeah, I would agree with you, and you're right with that Bolger and Cameron Smith match. I mean, that's just a really good match, right? Couple common opponents that they have is Cardix. Bolger beat him 1-0 this year, and Smith has split matches with him. He lost the most recent one 5-4. So, and both got teched by Lodier. So I think the clear, looking out further, I think we have a clear 1 and 2 here. I can't see anybody coming close to Lodier from Bishop McDevitt on the top half. I just don't see that happening. And on the bottom half, I think Karen Bauer is a step ahead of everyone here. But Tyler, what do you make of that Cruz Little and Carter Hicks match? And what have you liked about Cruz Little, other than the fact that we haven't seen him a whole lot against some Pennsylvania wrestlers?
Um, I mean, he's been. I haven't seen him, but he's wrestled up at 120, 121. Now he's down at 114. Ickes, he was I think he wrestled a lot at 21 this year, but I think he's a smaller wrestler compared to Little.
Yeah.
Little's had some good wins this year. And like I said, Faith Christian, they're wrestling the cream of the crop schedule. So
And if you look at common opponents for them, they each have Cameron Smith of Trinity, right? Little
yep,
beat him this
12-2.
weekend 12-2, right? And
yeah.
we just talked about how X has split matches with Smith, beating him 5-4 earlier this year. And I think with Little is he really turned it on at the Coal Cracker tournament. Looked really, really good at the Coal Cracker. I like that matchup for Karen Bauer. If he gets Little, I think that's a good match to see where he's at. But I can't see anybody giving him trouble. Who do you have making the semifinals on the bottom half? Because I have a hard time picking between Xander Wilson and Shickley. I really like Shickley. He's had a good season, and he's a guy who made a state tournament as a freshman, but was only a regional qualifier last year. But I think Shickley's that's a 3 versus a 4, a 4 versus a 5. If that should happen, you're getting 2 top 5 guys in the semifinals. Tyler, who do you have coming out of that bottom half on the semis?
Well, let's see. Shickley has a win over Cruz Little 2-1,
Mm-hmm.
and um, what, what did they wrestle? Because I know Shickley and I like Xander Wilson in that match.
Okay, Paul,
So I have Xander Wilson and Karen Bauer in the bottom half.
What do you got?
I have Shickley and Carabauer.
I also have Shickley and Karen Bauer. I will say though, Xander Wilson has wrestled really well the last couple weeks. I got to see him. I got to see him a couple times. But one match that I kind of circled as a little telling was he lost to Eisenhower from Montoursville 1-0 at the end of January. Eisenhower, of course, we know is at 107. He also lost to Pacelli from Williamsport, which to me was a very surprising loss for him. Pacelli's tough, but a guy like Xander Wilson, I thought was a little bit more superior than him. So he's had some.
Shickley majored him.
Right. So I mean, you kind of look at that and him beating Gabe Oberheim a couple weeks in a row, and him beating Rowan Humphreys by such a large margin, I think it makes it. There's a case that he certainly could be the guy. I do have Shickley making it to the semifinals against Karen Bauer on the top half. Or I'll ask you, Tyler, what do you have on the top half? I'm assuming Lodier.
Lodier, and I'm gonna go with Oberheim.
Paulie D.
Same.
Okay. I got the same. I got Lodier versus Oberheim, but I honestly think Householder, if he wins that, I think he makes the semis. I think the winner there makes the semifinals.
Yeah,
and I feel like
the winner there makes semis.
I feel like disrespectful to Bulger, who's a regional champion there, but I just think that I've seen more body of work from these two, and Householder as what was that? That was a they at the Ultimate Duels. What happened there? Wasn't there a then they wrestle and someone got hurt, right? Or was that Ickes? Was that I can't remember.
Ickes got,
That was
yeah,
Ickes.
Ickes got.
Yeah. Beating him and then ended up injury defaulting.
Yep.
All right, so rematch of the Powerade tournament, Lodier and Karen Bauer. Because I would be shocked if either of you did not have that happen in the finals. Paul, start with you. Why? Who'd you pick and why?
So I picked Karen Bauer, but I mean, it was more of a coin flip than anything. You know, if you look at the way they both wrestled all year, I mean, for the most part, they're pretty dominant. Karen Bauer is just he's so good on the mat and he's so hard to score on his feet. That was what made the difference for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's really good on top. He gets out on the bottom. I really feel like this is probably if it's not 1-0 in regulation, it's probably 2-1 in tiebreakers.
Yeah,
Is my feel on this. Um, but Laudier's look every time I've seen him wrestle, he opens it up a lot on his feet. I really think Karen Bauer is just so hard to score on that the mat wrestling is going to be the difference.
Tyler.
I agree 100%. I think it's going to come down to it's going to be a 1 point match, and it's going to ultimately come down to mat wrestling. I like Karen Bauer.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back and watch that Powerade Championship Finals match, um, the McDevitt folks would say that they thought they had a reversal on Karen Bauer, and I hope it's not a 1-0 match this time. I hope there's some more points scored, but I agree with you. I think that mat wrestling is what the difference is, and both these guys are elite wrestlers, and I think they both have established themselves as two of the best in the state and some of the best in the nation. So um, I think you could probably flip a coin, right? Um, but I would give the edge to Karen Bauer as well. But we said the same. I feel like we said the same thing last year with him at 107 pounds, right? And I think part of that may be a driving factor for him is, and I know talking to him after the Powerade tournament was, even though he didn't lose them at Hershey, he was the winner of that weight class that he was in. So I think there was an added, um, motivation there for him. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you're going to have a very tight match, but I do hope it's more than just a 1-0 match for sure. Um,
Oh, I agree.
yeah. So let's go up to 121 pounds. We're at the top of the bracket. And 21 is just outside of its mind. I love this bracket, but Sam Wolford from Northern Lebanon, he's at the top half. If you look at the bottom, you got Keegan Bassett from Bishop McCourt, also on the bottom half. With him is the third seed Brock Rothermel of Line Mountain, and then at the top, and Paul and I were talking about this before we went live, and Elijah Scriven is on that top half, but that top half is insane. It's pretty tough. So, Paul, I'll start with you. What are your instant reactions here to looking at 121?
Elijah Scriven got the toughest draw out of any regional champ in the state, I would say. Um, I mean, you're gonna have Arturo Reyes right off the bat. Then if you win, you get Dingus, and then if you win, you get Wolford, and then if you win again, then you get Rothermel. I
Yeah,
mean, uh, I think if you were a regional champ and you could place yourself in any different spot of the bracket, you pick anywhere other than that.
yeah. I mean, you're probably not wrong, right? If you could pick anywhere, you'd probably be anywhere. Um, yeah, that's a good point there, Tyler. What are your
Yeah, I
instant
agree.
reactions?
That's a tough draw. I think there's a lot of good quality kids in this bracket that, there's a lot of matches that could go either way and kind of screw up a bracket.
Right. What are some of your best first round matches to watch here?
Scriven and Reyes. Let's see. That's and then I mean you'll have Boo Bash and Bassett probably. Let's see what else. Uh, Pequeno and Santa Maria.
Yeah, that was one I had circled. I mean, we Bryce Prequino last year, right? I think he has a little bit of added motivation considering he was a regional champion last year and missed weight the first day. So I think he has a little bit of an axe to grind. That's a number 8 Pequeno versus a number 6 Dakota Santa Maria, who is a 2-time state medalist, right? So I think that's a good one. Paul, what about you? What do you see in best first round matchups? Anything?
Yeah, I mean that obviously Scriven and Reyes is top of my list. Pekino and Santa Maria, that's a good one. Santa Maria pinned him at the Midwinter Mayhem. Um, so it's, I mean, it would be nice to see a full match out of that.
Yeah.
But even Schumann and Edmond, I think is going to be a good one.
Yeah, I mean Schubert and Edmond. I think you have two pretty solid sophomores that are battle tested. Edmond is number 12 in the state. Schumann is number 10 currently right now, headed into Hershey. Reyes, though, I mean, I think both of you mentioned Reyes and Scriven. I wouldn't necessarily look past Anderchak. Bruce Anderchak just became the winningest Quaker Valley wrestler. I know he was sixth in a pretty deep Southwest region, but I don't think that's going to be an easy out for Reyes. And Reyes and Tyler, you can touch a little bit more on this considering you're the Southeast regional guy, but he's looked really good, and then other times like I feel like he's had a little bit of setbacks. Would you agree or no?
Yeah, I mean, I think after he's had, I think he's been more consistent since the Coal Cracker. I mean, he's had some pretty quality wins after that tournament. He kind of went on a tear over the weekend, teching Asher Omen and
Yeah.
Cole Scheisler twice. But then he did fall to Schumann 13-7 and Arnested
That
7 to
and those
2.
are two matches that I had as kind of like a little bit of bumps in the road for him, right?
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, they're still two top guys, two top, what, 12, 15 guys in the state. So
Yeah. Um, I look at Schumann and Anderchak as kind of in similar tiers in a way, right? I think Anderchak is being a 2-time state qualifier and Schumann being a state qualifier. I think they're kind of in that.
Reyes or Schumann.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
kind of have them in the same tier a little bit, so I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities for Reyes to not win that matchup. But Arnstead is the one that I am probably most curious to see, and he was a tough one to rank because we had talked about him and Cruz Little wrestling up so much this year that we don't have a lot of track record on them at these current weights. But I feel like he wrestled really well at the regional tournament. I think he's gotten better and better each weekend as he's wrestled. So Waylon Waite though is not. I mean, he's scrappy. He's a scrappy guy from Reynolds and a senior. So, and he's beaten Caleb Hummel a couple times. Beat him at the Ultimate Warrior tournament this year. So, yeah, it's. I think Arnstad is a guy to keep an eye on, especially if he makes the quarters against Keegan Bassett. So let's go back up to the top half where you have Dingus there. And I asked Paul, I said, if Bassett beat him by what major decision in the District 6 finals. This time it was a tight match. Was there a
Yep.
lot of difference, Paul, between the first and second one, or was it just, more, what was the difference between District 6 and the Southwest Regional Finals?
Bassett got a couple turns on top in the district finals. Dingus went neutral this time. I'm not saying he gets turned again, but I think the turns on top, I mean, you're talking 7 points in the district tournament that he didn't have in the regional tournament to make the score as wide.
Right. And Tyler, what do you expect out of this 121 bracket when it comes to that top half with Sam Wolford, Pequeno, Santa Maria, Dingus, Scriven, Reyes, all in that top half? Do we have a clear favorite? Because I would say on paper, Sam Wolford has been the clear number 2 guy basically all season. And let's not forget Keegan Bassett started the year at 114, moved up to 121. What do you make of that top half? And is Sam Wolford the guy here?
I think on paper he is, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if Wolford, Dingus, or Scriven could make a state final, to be honest.
Paul?
Yeah, I mean it's it's really between those three for me. Um, Obviously Wolford's had a solid year. Scriven missed the first half of the year with the knee injury. Dingus is, I mean, he started the year at 133.
Yeah, he
Uh,
did. Yeah, you're right.
so is he settling into the 121-pound weight class? Is that maybe what helped make the match against Keegan closer? That's the biggest question mark for me, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Scriven missing the first half of the year. Obviously, he's super solid. He's a returning state fourth. Dingus, a returning state third that starts out at 133, comes all the way down to 121, kind of settling in.
Hmm.
Um, there's a lot of question marks on the top half of the bracket.
I mean, what excites me is the fact that, when you look at the finals last year for 114, Freddie Bachman beat Sam Wolford 4-3. Dingus finished third, beating Tommy Boyce 3-0 in sudden victory, right? So you have literally the 2 and 3 in the state last year who were not separated by a whole lot of points, right? Um, Potentially wrestling in that semifinals matchup. I really like that matchup, and um, I just think Sam Wolford is he's been so good from top. He's really good with tilts. He's just so um, he reminds me of a little bit of like a Central Dolphin wrestler from back in the day. I mean, he's just really tough on top, and he does all the basic things right. Dingus, I feel like at times, like when he beat Dom Deputy at the Powerade tournament, I thought he looked really good, but there's other times when I thought, maybe he hasn't looked his best. And when he doesn't open up, right, when he doesn't open up his offense, um, if he goes out there to keep it close with Wolford, I think Wolford's going to win. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
the top half is pretty wild. Um, what about the bottom half? You got Rothermel, who has a win over Keegan Bassett this year. What do you like about that bottom half, and really can anyone stop a collision course with Rothermel and Bassett? We'll start with you, Tyler.
Um, no, I think those two are the clear cut to make the semi there. I think it'll be Rothermel Schumann in the quarters, and I think it'll be Arnested Bassett in the quarters. But I think Bassett's going to be heavily favored over Arnested, and I think Rothermel heavily favored over Schumann.
What about you, Paul?
Yeah, I have the same.
So Rothermel beat Keegan Bassett in the Conti semis in one of the best brackets in the state this year, at the Midwinter Mayhem. That was, I mean, I feel like people are still talking about that bracket. Um, Rothermel beat him 10-4, and if you go back and watch the match, um, I think it was Rothermel's size that caused issues for Keegan. Right, Keegan's, I mean, he fires off a lot of shots. He's able to scramble really well. Um, but Rothermel's size, I think, was the difference there. Would you guys agree or disagree with that?
No, I would say a little bit of his size, but for as many as attacks as Keegan throws out there, Rothermel has the same arsenal. Um, I think if you mix the size with the same type of wrestling style, the heavy hand fight, the in your face, I think the size just makes the difference there,
Yeah,
I guess.
Tyler.
I agree with that. I think they're both, heavy hand fighters. They're both in your face. They both have good offensive attacks from neutral. They can both turn on top. I think the size is the difference there.
All right, so we'll start with you, Paul. Who do you have in the semifinals on the top half?
I have Wolford coming out on the top half over Dingus in the
Okay.
semis. Um, I really think from the round of 16 for a lot of them are some coin flips. I
Yeah.
think one takedown or a quick tilt can make the difference in either one of those matchups. But ultimately, me having Digits coming down from 133 and settling into 121 just kind of makes a difference to get him to the semis. And then, like you said, Wolford, his top game. Um, I think that they both can scramble. They're both going to be at each other on their feet. I think it comes down to the mat again.
Who do you have coming out of the bottom half?
Rothermel.
Rothermel beating Bassett in the semifinals,
Yep. And then Wolford over Dinges.
and Wolford over Dinges. So Wolford versus Rothermel in the finals. Tyler, what do you have?
Oh man, I think that Dingus Scriven match is going to be pretty crazy. They're both very good scramblers. Scriven's looked very good the last couple weeks. Um, I think I'm going to go Wolford over Scriven
Okay.
and Rothermel over Bassett.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't.
I like the Wolford over Scriven. I really do. I just that size kind of brings it to me.
Yeah. I mean, I think Wolford. I just think I feel like he's on a mission this year in a lot of ways. Just from seeing him throughout the year. I think Wolford. I have Wolford beating Dingus in the semifinals on the top half, with Wolford making the finals. I also have on the bottom half Rothermel beating Keegan Bassett to make the finals. But then I have Rothermel winning it over Wolford. And I know that's like going chalk with our rankings. Rothermel 1, Wolford 2, Keegan 3, and Max 4. But I really do think that that pecking order has kind of been established in a lot of ways. Um, I think Rothermel and Wolford, obviously these top four, can I agree with you, Paul, and I think you're the one who said it, a coin flip and a takedown, and it's completely different. So I don't have like in my um, percentage of how much I believe that my pick is going to be right. I would say it's probably on a low end, like a 20%, 20 or 30% that Rothermel wins it, but because honestly, I would not be shocked if Sam Wolford won a title, Keegan Bassett won a title, or Max Din just won a title. I really think all four of those guys could be in the mix to win a title. Any closing thoughts there on 121, guys?
Going to
This
be
one's gonna
fun to
be fun.
watch.
It's
Yep.
gonna be
Yep.
fun. You guys almost said that in exact unison, so I like that. That means we're doing something right. Yeah, 21's gonna be fun. So let's go up to 127, where we have Freddie Bachman, returning state champion from Faith Christian at the top. On the bottom, as the 2 seed, you have Dom Deputy of Chestnut Ridge, also a returning state champion. So the other thing is, regardless of the point system here, you're going to separate state champions, right? So no matter what, you
Mm-hmm.
have to separate returning state champions that are regional champions, right? So Freddie Bachman and Dom Deputy obviously get separated. Also on the bottom half, you have third seed CJ Keynes of Hanover area, and the fourth seed is Logan Stewart of Reynolds. And if you look at where these guys finished last year, Bachman a champ, Deputy first, CJ Keynes was sixth, Stewart was seventh. Um, Carter Chunko is sitting on the bottom half as well. I gotta say, when I look at quarterfinals, CJ Keynes, Carter Chunko, semifinal or quarterfinals, sign me up. I want to see that match. CJ Keynes
Oh man.
undefeated. Um, Carter Chunko, man, he gave Freddie Bachman everything he could handle in that regional final. So, um, and that's not, we haven't even mentioned like Cam Baker, who has beaten Dom Deputy already this year. Even though Dom has beaten him a few times. This is a bracket that just has a lot of depth. When you look at the number of state medalists, there's a state medalist that's ranked all the way down at 9 in Jordan Magnetti, right? So, just a lot of depth here. Paul, I'll start with you. What do you like about this bracket, and are there any first round matches that you have highlighted?
Yeah, so you just said about Manietti getting like that pigtail, and if he wins, he gets Logan Stewart. So you have two state place winners going at it in the round of 16. Um, I mean, other than that, I'm not saying I don't think there's going to be any good matchups, but I think there's favorites all the way around. I think Chase Wernsberger and Austin Kosanovic would probably be my second favorite first round matchup. Um, but I still have my favorites in all those matchups there.
Yeah, and I would agree with you on the Kosanovic and the Wernsberger match. That's an 11 in Kosanovic and Wernsberger, 11 versus 12. Both these guys are returning state qualifiers. Tyler, what about you? What do you see here in any first round matches that you want to see or that you're excited about
Um,
seeing?
yeah, that Manietti Stewart match I think is going to be the best first round matchup. Another one that kind of is intriguing to me is Kagan Painter and Zane Kraus.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they both have wrestled Logan Stewart as a common opponent this year. Kraus is 1-1 against Stewart, while Painter's dropped a couple close matches and then just recently got pinned in the regional finals against Stewart. And then also, Jax Furman is a pretty solid freshman from DeLone Catholic. Interested to see how he wrestles against CJ Canes.
Yeah, I agree with you. Jax Furman is kind of like the wild card here. At times he's looked really, really good. If you go back and watch him at the Escape the Rock, I thought he looked phenomenal there. Sort of had a little bit of a slide at the regional tournament. Would you say, Tyler? I wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it was a deep region, right? When you have
I mean, he
returning.
dro- he dropped he dropped a match to Freddie Bachman 8-5, and then Zane Kraus and sudden victory. So
Right, right.
Yeah.
I'm not, and I guess my point is that there's been times when I thought maybe he could beat a Zane Kraus, right? And
mhm.
obviously that's a close matchup there. Carter Chunko is the one that really intrigues me here on the bottom half. Um, we currently have him ranked number 2 in the state. He was a returning state second, and a lot of people have asked me why I had Carter Chunko over Dom Deputy, and I just think Dom's been a little inconsistent this year, losing to Dingus, then beating him, losing to Baker, then beating him. Whereas I feel like Carter Chunko, that if you go back and watch that Bethlehem Hurricane finals against Emilio Albanese, who Dom Deputy also beat in the Midwinter Mayhem finals, I think you can see some similarities there. But I also think Carter Chunko is just, I don't know. I feel like he's been wrestling really well, a little bit maybe more consistent, if that makes sense. Um, CJ Canes, man, like, yeah, Hanover doesn't wrestle a ton of the toughest competition, but they were at Coal Cracker. We know how good CJ is after placing at the Super 32 last year. Um, it's just a matter of can he put it all together here. So, but if it's not, his path's not going to be easy. Let's say he gets Furman. That's a very, very tough freshman, Furman. Then you're going to have Carter Chunko. And if by chance you beat Carter Chunko, you're probably going to have Dom Deputy, right? So, I
Yeah.
mean, you're undefeated and you're coming into Hershey and you're like, oh boy, like look at where I'm at in the bracket. That I feel like the bottom half though, with Canes, Chunko, Kraus, Deputy, I'll even throw Furman in the mix there. That's just a wild bottom half. So Paul, what do you have on that bottom half? Who do you have in the quarterfinals and semifinals?
So I have Canes being Furman, and then Canes versus Chunko, Kraus versus Deputy, and then Chunko versus Deputy, and then Deputy to the finals.
Okay. And what do you have, Tyler, on that bottom half?
I have the same.
Same exact. Okay.
Yep.
What about the top half? Is Freddie
Top
Bachman the
half.
clear favorite here?
Yeah, I have Freddie going to the finals. I have him beating Logan Stewart in the semis.
What do you have, Paul?
Same.
Same.
Yep.
Yeah. So I also I think so. Quarterfinals. I have Freddie Bachman and Chase Warrensberger. I have Cam Baker and Logan Stewart. I have Stewart beating Baker. But I think that's a pretty tight match. Those guys
Yeah.
have a lot of common opponents there. I think
Yep.
Bachman is going to beat Stewart to make the finals. I have CJ Canes versus Carter Chunko, and I have Zane Cross versus Dom Deputy. I have Carter Chunko beating Canes, Deputy beating Kraus, and then I have Carter Chunko beating Deputy to make the finals to have a rematch of the Southeast Regional Finals.
Who do
I
you have in
got
the final?
I have Chunko and Bachman in the
Who
finals.
winning?
Oh, who do I have winning? Bachman.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got Deputy in the finals, man. He's
All he's done is make the finals. He's
I
got
know.
all he's done is make the. I mean, he's never not made the finals. Um,
Exactly.
I mean, it's yeah. I mean, me picking against him is I mean, Dom's not gonna be happy, and he's probably gonna give me a side eye when I see him. Um,
I mean, he used to be a PA power guy.
he's always a PA power guy. Once a PA power guy, always a PA power guy.
I'm just
It's
saying
like
he
a
was one
gang.
one of the originals.
Yeah, he's an OG. Him and Dyson Gold, man.
And Knob Snyder.
And Eric, buddy. I mean, look, it's nothing against Dom. I just think that he always finds a way to win in Hershey, but I don't know. I have a feeling that Chunko is going to find a way to beat him. Again, I have consistency problems. I have problems looking at his consistency in beating, you know, some of the top guys. I was very surprised that he lost to Cam Baker, even though he's beat him on several other occasions. Dingus I can kind of see with his style matchups, but Dom, if Dom opens up and he's good between the years, he's not only is he going to make the finals, but he could win this. He could beat Freddie Bachman. You're right. I think the top four here, right? When you look at Freddie Bachman, Chunko, Deputy, and Canes, I think those four are pretty well established as the top four. I'll put Cam Baker, Logan Stewart, Zane Krause on another tier, but I think that four there are pretty damn strong. Would you guys kind of agree with that or no?
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Bachman has established himself as the favorite. Even though you have two returning state champions, I still think Bachman, just body of work wise, has proven that he's probably the favorite. But I think we also said the same thing last year about Gage Watero and Dom Deputy potentially, right? And Dom came out and won a state title. So Dom's been second, and first, and he's lost to some of the best in the nation, right? I mean, look at who he's lost to in the state finals: Aaron Seidel, Joey Bachman,
Aaron Seidel and Joey Bachman.
and then beats Gage Watero. So he has sort of a history of doing very well on this level. So, do you guys have Bachman beating him though? I believe you said you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're cool enough to pick him to make the semi or to make the finals, but you won't go all the way in. All right, see how it is.
I have commitment issues.
I said that I have commitment issues. Let's go up to 133. 133. When you look at it on paper, it's very similar to me for like 121 with the talent wise. You have a guy like Liam Lawler who's number 12 in the state seventh, but then you have a slew of returning state medalists with Will Detter. You have Bradley Wagner, Chase Homan, Tanner Gano, but then you throw in some wild cards like Austin Carfley. You got Lucas Barr, Eric Carlisle, Kostek. I mean, that Southwest region was absolutely stacked. Paul, what did you take away from this iteration of the Southwest region and kind of the District 6 tournament where we saw Tanner Gano lose? This time he gets a win there. What did you like most about that matchup with Tanner Gano?
I think Tanner Gano just kind of did the whole like Dom Deputy against the kids that he lost to a couple times.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, hey, you beat me the first time. Now I'm gonna make a show. He controlled the whole match for the most part. I I,
I
I
think he
think there
opened
were
it up
some.
more.
Yeah, I think he opened it up more. I think he learned from the first round matchup. Um, I think that was the difference.
Tyler, you sound like
Experience.
you agree.
Yeah, I think he opened up a lot more in the regional finals than he did the district finals, and I think he looked like a different, more hungry Tanner Gano.
Yeah, I mean, just from it seemed like he waited to the last like 10 seconds in that District 6 match to really start firing off shots, right? And really get into his offense. This time, I don't think he left it up for I feel like he was a gas on the pedal the whole time here.
But I think that's what Tanner does a lot. He kind of hangs back a lot in some of the matches that he wrestles and makes the score a lot closer than it needs to be.
Mhm.
And then whenever he wants to let it hang out, he can let it hang out.
Yeah.
Um, I think if he would just put that mindset into every match that he went out there instead of just kind of like, hey, I know that I can probably score whenever I need to, so I'll just leave it up to that instead of like, hey, I'm going to score every time I need to score.
Yeah, for sure. Um, and let's switch the page to Brady Slicker from Hickory, a guy who is a state medalist from 2 years ago. He was eighth in 2024, and last year was a state qualifier. He had lost to Bryson Galloway from Northeast, and then comes back and beats him. He is now sitting at that number 4 spot. But I kind of like where he's at, to be honest with you. I mean, compared to
Yeah.
where Elijah Scriven, his teammate, is, I feel like he's in a much better position. Lucas Barr, I was at AAA West region this weekend, but I kept on getting notifications about Lucas Barr and how he came out and teched Eric Carlisle and then comes back and beats him for third and fourth in a much closer matchup. What did you see, Paul, in that Lucas Barr Eric Carlisle match? Because Carlisle is somebody who I thought for sure was going to medal last year and did not. And Barr looked really good against him in that first matchup.
Yeah, I didn't have the opportunity to watch the first matchup, but I know whenever they wrestled for third and fourth, it was super tight.
Yeah.
Um, it went to the tie breaks. I think one thing that helped was Bart being injured going into the overtime periods. It gave him a little bit of a second wind, I guess is a
Mm-hmm.
good way to put it. Um, but I think that first round was kind of just, I don't know, kind of
A
fluky.
fluky, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Chase Homan is somebody that intrigues me as well in this bottom half, and that's a really, you look at the quarterfinals, that's a 3 versus 4. If Homan wrestles Gano, that's a number 3 Chase Homan versus number 4 Tanner Gano. Chase Homan had a phenomenal Hershey tournament last year. That was his third trip to. This is now his fourth trip to Hershey, but last year he finished sixth in the state. Gano, a 2-time state medalist as a junior, headed to West Virginia. He was fifth as a freshman and eighth last year. I feel like that matchup in the quarterfinals could be a really, really good one. The best first round matchup. What would you guys say is the best first round matchup? Because I know what mine is. I want to hear yours, Tyler. What do you have one circled?
Um, Carlisle Wagner.
Okay, that's a rematch too, right?
Yep.
What about you, Paul? Anything?
Yeah, that was the same one I had circled.
And do you guys have who do you have winning that one?
Wagner.
Wagner.
Yeah, and Wagner's had. I mean, I feel like he's had a little bit of an interesting couple weeks here. Wagner is somebody who is a 2-time state medalist, seventh as a freshman, sixth as a sophomore, and now as a junior. I feel like he's really established himself as one of the better wrestlers in the state. But what about the Liam Lawler match and Shulio? That was a 4-1 matchup for Shulio at the state dual team tournament. And Lawler, somebody who was a state medalist last year. Is that you guys looking forward to a rematch there?
Yeah.
Doesn't sound too exciting. So I guess that's falling flat there. It
Yeah, I
sounds
mean,
like you guys are
I
not
think
excited for that.
that's a one takedown match. I mean that I like Julio's style. I think he's very
I mean,
I
it's
think
not
he's
very
fun to
often you have a
watch.
returning state medalist in the first round losing to a freshman as a
No,
senior. So,
I think that's an intriguing match.
but
Yeah, I mean, I don't have him losing to a freshman. I mean, I know it's happened, but
Well,
so
he
you have
lost
him
to him at
you have him
regionals.
avenging the loss and beating, or you have
I
Lawler winning.
I do. I do.
And okay, that's a good that's
No,
so
I'm not saying it's not a good matchup. I'm just
okay.
saying my favorite matchup of the first round was Wagner and Carlisle.
I understand. You can have more than one favorite, just like you have more than one favorite person. Like I'm your favorite. Tyler's kind of a favorite. But I didn't appreciate the fact
Emily, I
that
guess.
I brought that up. You guys just fell flat. Who do you guys
We
I
got
have
to keep you
making?
on your
guess.
toes, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you. What do
I
you guys
also
have?
think at one point in the year I was kind of touting Chase Homan, and you're like, well, yeah, I have him ranked like 10th. So
I mean, I can remember Tyler Morder saying that he was going to lose to Reyes, and then he comes out and beats Reyes. You remember that, Tyler?
Yeah, that happened.
That did happen. So
But
you
that's why
said
they put it on the line.
that's right. I
I
mean,
like. Go ahead.
go back. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, so I on the top I like Deader and Barr in the semis.
Okay.
Um, and then on the bottom I
So you have Barr
like.
beating Slicker. Is that
I
I
do.
hear? You have
Yes.
Barr
Yeah,
beating
Barr
Slicker.
over Slicker, and then I have Deader over Carfley. And then I have Gano over Homan, and I have Wagner over. I'm gonna go Lawler.
Okay. So Wagner lost to Carlisle 2 years ago at the Panther Holiday Classic in the semifinals. If you remember that, that was a really
Yep.
Yep.
crazy match. Um, and I feel like Wagner has since then been really solid. He's 46-2 on the season, but his couple losses this year. Sorry, my dog's just
Albanese and Deader.
yeah, Albany's and Deader. So I feel like those are pretty solid losses for him. I don't. I feel like he's the favorite on that bottom half. I also have Gano. I have Gano beating Homan. I have Shulio beating Lawler and Shulio wrestling Wagner. Wagner wrestling Gano in the semifinals. Slicker is the one that I feel like is the enigma here because I remember when he lost to Kostek from Richland at the Panther Holiday. I was a little disappointed in that match, but then he's also I feel like there's times when he looks really really good, and there's other times when you just scratch your head like, how do you lose that guy? Um, I have a hard time figuring out who's going to win, Slicker or Barr there if that match happens. Paul, would you agree with Slicker's assessment?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Um, what about Austin Carfley? Is he gonna give any problems to Deader if they meet?
I don't think so. I
No.
think Deader is just he's so hard to score on his feet. He keeps really good position. I'm not saying he does a lot on his feet, but he's super hard to score on. Um, he's a very good top wrestler. He's not a big turner, but
But he can ride you. Yeah.
he can ride the hell out of you. And then he gets out on bottom, you know.
Yep.
Um, I don't think Carfley has a win over Deader. I
Yeah.
really don't.
I didn't expect him to beat Tanner Gano either. But that happened.
Yeah, I also think Deader and Gano are slightly different class.
For sure. No, I agree with you. So Paul, what do you have on the top half? You have Deader versus who in the
I
semis?
I have Deader versus Slicker. Um, I think Slicker, his offense makes on his feet, especially, gives Barr some fits.
Mm-hmm.
He likes to attack a lot, where Barr likes to slow it down. He's hard to slow down, and he's a really good scrambler. So I have Slicker beating Barr, then I have Homan beating Gano, and then I have Wagner beating Lawler.
And Tyler, what do you have?
I had Deader, Barr, Gano, Wagner.
Okay. And who do you guys have making it to the finals?
Deader and Wagner.
Deader, Wagner with
Deader,
Deader
Wagner.
winning.
Yep.
Okay. I agree with you. I have Deader and Wagner. I have Deader beating Wagner. I have Deader beating. I have Barr. I have Barr making the semifinals. I have Deader over Barr, um, and Wagner over Gano, and then Deader over Wagner. Do you guys both have Deader winning?
Yep.
Yep.
But again, there's a lot. I feel like those semifinals could be completely flipped. I feel like you could have Chase Home in there. I feel like you could have Slicker and Barr. I feel like is a toss up matchup. I feel like there's a lot of parity here at 133.
Agreed.
Yep.
All right, 139. At the top, you've got Camden Baum of Bishop McDevitt, who is a two-time state finalist, was ineligible to compete as a freshman, but it was a two-time state finalist sophomore and junior years. Also, and then on the bottom half, you have Drake McClure of Bentworth, who is a returning state 8th place finisher. You have Camden Barrero of Cathedral Prep, who is a sophomore returning state qualifier, and then a freshman, Chase Boozer from Muncie, as the 4th seed. Guys, I think Chase Boozer here is really going to be a guy to keep an eye on. But the Southeast region is so stacked. You've got the top 3 guys in the state all out of the Southeast region, and Hayden Andrus has beaten Gavin Gree. What is it, Tyler? The last 3 weeks at least?
Yeah, the last 3 weeks.
Yeah. So, I mean, but what first-round matchups do you guys have as must-see?
I mean, I have Hayden Andrus and Ben Straub. That's a first round matchup I really want to see. And then Green and Almadena. And then also Brody Bishop and Owen McMullen.
I have all 3 of those as well.
Jeff's trying to round up the dog.
Sorry, I could hear you. I just couldn't talk to you because I was rounding up the dog. Hayden Andrus and Ben Straub has to be one of the best first round matchups. Straub's somebody who last year was 7th in the state. Andrus was 3rd as a freshman, 5th in the state last year. And Green and Almadena, right? I mean, those are 2 really, really good matches on that bottom half. And you know, it's funny to think that the 2 regional champions there with Barrera and McClure, I feel like are more like, I feel like they're not favorites to make it. I mean, would you guys agree or no?
Make it to the semis?
To make it to the semis, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
You know, I wouldn't be shocked to see either Andrus Hayden or Ben Straub make the semifinals over Barrero. Just my gut feeling.
Yeah, I think the winner of that match makes the semis.
Okay. And same with Gavin Green. I feel like I've seen him a number of occasions this year. I mean, he's somebody who was nationally ranked at one time. He had a really good offseason. And Almadena he's one of those guys like Caleb Hummel. He's a 3-time state qualifier. This is now his 4th trip to Hershey. Has yet to earn a medal. Same with Brody Bishop from Hickory. I feel as though Almadena is going to find a way to get through, but that first round matchup that he has is not very favorable to him. You know, he's going to have a hard time coming back from that. You know, Drake McClure is somebody who, you know, I feel like has had a good season, but has also shown some inconsistencies at time. And, I just, that bottom half intrigues me because I feel like you have 3 or 4 guys that could easily make the finals, and I wouldn't be shocked. You said McMullen and Bishop as well. I feel like Owen McMullen has looked pretty solid this year over the last couple of weeks. Would you agree, Paul?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he's trying to come into his own. I think whenever he tries to open himself up on his feet, then he does a lot better. I think he spends too much time digging underhooks and trying to push people around.
Yeah.
I really think if he would just get to his offense, he would be able to score more points. It's kind of like I know he's not going to Iowa. He was originally committed there, but he tries to do that Iowa style where he tries to push people around a little bit too much instead of going out there and scoring points whenever he has the opportunities.
Right. I think we got to say from the onset here that Camden Baum, I feel like, is a clear favorite. I feel like he's been firing on all cylinders as of recently, especially ever since that Powerade tournament where he got a little bit banged up after getting thrown. I feel like Camden Baum, I would be shocked if he does not win a state title. I can't see anybody else being on his level here. But I think the rest of those medalists are really intriguing. I think McMullen beats Bishop in that first round, but I don't think he obviously has enough for Camden Baum. Chase Boozer, and I mentioned this when we first opened up the weight, is somebody that I feel like I've heard a lot about coming up through the junior high ranks. He was in Pennsylvania, then he moved, I believe, to Utah, then moved back to Pennsylvania, and he's somebody that has only gotten better as the years progressed. He's currently number 7th in the state, but I could see him easily placing top 6. Just based on his track record over the last couple of weeks. I feel like he makes the semifinals against Baum. And on the bottom half, I agree with you, Paul. I think the winner of that Andrus and Straub match makes the semifinals. And I think Gavin Green will make the semifinals as well to have a rematch. This would be like the 4th time in a row, right? 4th week in a row that Andrus and Green could meet in the semifinals here, Tyler.
Yep. And Andrus has won the last 2 4-1 sudden victory, so
right.
They're close matches.
Paul, who do you have making the semis?
So I had Baum beat McMullen, Boozer beating Hamilton, and then Andrews beating Barrero, and Green beat McClure to make the semis.
Okay, I have the exact same thing. Tyler, do you have the exact?
I have the exact.
Okay, and we did not look at each other's, picks before this, so this is not. We'd like to have some mix-ups. Then who do you have making the finals, Paul?
I have Baum and Andrus.
Tyler?
I have the same with Baum beating Andrus.
I have Baum beating Andrus too. Sort of boring. I feel like I should.
I mean, I think that Andrus and Green match it can go either way. I mean, those two have wrestled each other so many times, and Green also has a win over him earlier this year. I believe it was 11-4. So
it was in their conference tournament.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's truly a toss-up match.
I would agree with you, but I also think that first round matchup with Andrus and Straub is also a toss-up match.
I agree.
I don't have a feeling confidently one way or another. Like, I mean, Green beat Straub last year, and we just talked about what Andrus was able to do against him. But really, when you look at their comparables, like, they're pretty damn close. So I feel like we've all picked Andrus to make the finals, but in reality, I feel like Straub can easily make the finals. And if Straub wins over Andrus, I feel like Green's going to make the finals. I feel like, if it's anyone other than Andrus, I feel like Green can make the finals. But, and same with Drake McClure. Drake McClure is very, very capable of making the finals as well. So that bottom half, I feel like, is just, there's a lot of intrigue there.
I agree.
So I think we all agreed that we had Baum over Andrus, but with an asterisk that bottom half could go completely nuts and not end up that way, right? So
just as a side note, I do have Almadena breaking through to get a state medal.
Thank you, God. I appreciate you saying that, because I hate to see those guys that qualify 4 times and never, it's like being a 4-time state runner up. Like, it's just, I don't know. I kind of root for those guys that are 4-time state qualifiers to get that medal in their last trip. And Brody Bishop's in that same boat, but I feel like the top, I mean, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 returning state medalists. It's a lot of, I mean, so that means only, if all of those guys repeat, that means you only have 3 spots open, right? And then you have that freshman Chase Boozer, you have Barrero, you have McMullen, who have not earned a medal yet. It's also interesting because Owen McMullen, when he qualified for states, what was he, 172?
172.
And so next time you qualified for states at 172 in 2024, fast forward 2 years and you're qualifying for states at 139. I don't think that's ever happened in Pennsylvania wrestling history, that somebody has qualified at 171 or that high and then qualified at such a lower weight. Like, that's, the transformation there is pretty incredible.
It's unheard of.
Unprecedented. Let's go up to 145, shall we? 145. This is what everyone's here for. I know everyone wants to hear Brant Hare versus Bo Bassett round 2, because round 1 did not ever come to fruition. But at the top, you have Brant Hare, and everyone says, why you have Brant Hare as the top seed? Well, they're both returning state champions, and Brandt has 54-0 record, and Bassett has a 40-0 record. You got to flip a coin there for that. Literally flip a coin, and Brandt is the top seed. Um, Bo Bassett on the bottom half. Also on the bottom half is Grayson Music from Bishop McDevitt, who is a two-time state medalist. Second is as a freshman in 2024. Third last year, one a nationally ranked guy. You have Rudy Gentile from Greenville as the fourth seed. Guys, before we get to some of the more premier matchups, what are some of the best first round matchups that you have? I will start. Santoro and Garshnik has to be one of the best first round matchups. Santoro, I mean, he gave Music everything he could handle at the regional tournament. Santoro is a sophomore. Last year, he was able to come away with an eighth place medal. His dad's the head coach of Lehigh, Pat Santoro, a PA great. Garshnek is somebody who was a state medalist two times, was eighth as a freshman, fifth in 2024, and was a qualifier last year. I think that's a really good first round matchup. Is there any other ones that you guys have circled?
I have Judas and Walther as well.
Yeah, I have that one as well.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean,
that's
top of the list is definitely Santoro
Yeah.
and Garchnik, but
yeah. I mean,
Judy
Judice and
Walther.
Judice, Louisiana state champ, seventh in Hershey as a sophomore, fourth last year, and Walther was seventh last year. So that's a four versus a sixth. I agree. That's a really good matchup. Gage Evans and Grayson Meyer. Meyer is somebody who we got to see at the Ultimate Warrior tournament, and I thought he looked pretty solid. Um, those guys are two that didn't meet there, but they both had some common opponents. I feel like Grayson Meyer has been wrestling really well. How about Kyler C, Tyler? Because you and I have gone back and forth about him. Like he is probably I call him the roller coaster because there's times when he is like way at the top and then way at the bottom. Like he really goes back and forth between being really good and really bad. Like
Yeah, I mean he had a great regional
he
tournament.
did.
He knocked off he beat Grayson Meyer, who I mean he Grayson Meyer was, I thought, a heavily favored regional champion, but Meyer knocked him off, and then or C knocked off Meyer, and then he uh beat Graydon Gustus, and
Mm-hmm.
then lost to Gentili in the final. But yeah, he put together a good regional tournament.
When you look at this, obviously the talk is Bo Bassett and Brent Hare, right? But we can't forget Grayson Music. Grayson Music is somebody that has been, very good for a very long time. But does she have a shot here against Bo?
I don't
No,
think so.
No,
no.
no. Okay, all right. None of us
I
think
think
that.
those just he's too heavy-handed. He pushes the pace. He makes people feel so uncomfortable. Um, I think that's such a hard style to match.
Yeah. All right, let's go through and see what we have. I have Brent Hare in the quarterfinals against Santoro. I have Judice versus Gentile, but I feel like that quadrant right there, like anybody could come out from that. I think Judice and Waller and Gentile, like I feel like they even Kenamod, I feel like could do well. But I do have Judice versus Gentile. I have Music versus Meyer. I have C versus Bassett. Bassett making the semifinals. Music beating Meyer. I have Judice beating Gentili. I have Brent Hare beating Santoro, although that's a rematch from the team state tournament where Santoro I thought looked pretty decent against Brant. So Brant versus Judice, Bo versus Music. Do you guys have anything different?
No.
Paul, you too?
Yeah, I was the same.
Yeah. Okay. Um, yeah. So let's just cut to the chase. Brant versus Bo. Let's break it down because the first time it was supposed to happen, there was a lot of opinions flying around. Paul, I'll start with you. Have you? I mean, these are two of the best to ever do it, right? And you know, at first, when that decision came that Denny Hare was opting to say, you know what, we're not going to wrestle him here, we're going to wrestle him in Hershey. Um, you know, I was conflicted for sure, but looking at it now, I'm kind of glad they didn't hit, because now you have, you know, now Brant Hare's the return, because now I feel like if you would have wrestled and Bo would have beat him, it kind of would have been like, you know, Bo's already beat him, you know. But now there you don't have that result, um, so there is a little bit more intrigue, because I feel like a lot of people believe that Bo is a clear favorite, um, but at the same time, Brant is now the winningest wrestler in Pennsylvania wrestling history. He and Bo both have over 100 tech falls in their careers. Both are looking for the third state title, right? Both are Super 32 champions from this season, right? So we know how good they both are. But uh, Paul, what do you see about, what are the keys to success for a guy like Brant Hare to take down Bo Bassett? What are some things that he has to do and has to do very well?
I think he's got to weather the storm a lot on his feet. Um, and then I look at his top work. Bo wasn't able to get out against Bachman, against Joey Bachman in the state duels. Brant Hare is tough as nails on top, and he's got really good turns. He's not just a rider; he likes to turn. He has quick tilts. So if you want me to give a key to success for Brant, I would say it would be his top work. Whether he gets a chance to be on top is one thing or another, but
Yeah.
I think if he can get possibly a quick set of back points. Now I'm not saying he's going to. I'm saying if.
Yeah.
I think that is a huge advantage there. I don't know if Bo has ever given up any back points in his life,
I don't know if he. I
but
mean, I feel like he has to have given up back points in his life.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying if he has given up back points or if he's going to give up any back points, this might be the time.
This might be the time. Yeah. I
But
mean,
again, that's a very slim chance. But
I
that's a
mean,
key to success for Brant Hare.
yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. And the question, I mean, I look at the Joe Bachman matchup with Bo this last time, and I feel like we could see a very similar matchup where, you know, Bo's going to be able to maybe get a takedown, but Joey was really tough on top. You know, he was able to ride Bo out, right? And I think Brant is so good on top. Um, it's and like you said, it's just a matter of whether he gets that opportunity to go on top or not. But man, like this could go. I mean, I feel like it's. What would you say percentages are? Like if you had, would you say, what are you saying, Paul? 90-10, 70-30? What are you saying?
I told you whenever we were sitting at the house at Ultimate Warrior, if there's one kid in high school right now that can beat Bo Bassett, it's
It's
Brant
Brand
Hare.
Hair. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Chances 75-25.
That's what I was thinking.
75-25. Yeah. I think that's fair.
And
Um,
I honestly I think the only way he beats him is if he gets a turn on top.
And he
so
can't give up a takedown. He can't get
he can't
taken
give up a
down.
takedown. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, I agree.
I think the key I think that I think the Hare family's watching a lot of film on that Bachman and Bassett State duel match, and how to slow Bo down on his feet. Um, because like I said, I think
He's got to
you're gonna
run.
yeah, you got to keep the match close with Bo to be able to beat him. I don't
Right.
think Brant wants to get into a slugfest where it's, Bo scoring more than 3 points, honestly. But when does Bo Bassett not score 3 points? Um, I mean, but I think Bo Bassett is a heavy favorite here. I mean, he's beaten the number 2 and number 3 ranked wrestlers in Division 1 right now. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't think that you can't prepare in the practice room for a guy like Bo Bassett. You just can't.
There's nothing you can
I
do to
agree.
replicate that. Yeah.
No, you can't. You can't replicate that pressure.
Yeah.
I really think Denny was smart by saying that he gets one opportunity to get his hands on Brant because Brant's long, he's methodical, and he's good on top.
Yeah.
I mean, I think looking back, I was upset that we didn't get to see the opportunity for them to get to wrestle at state duels. I think a lot of people at that time were under the impression that there was a chance that he was going down to 139.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad he didn't. Um, but I mean, realistically, Denny was genius by saying he gets one chance to put his hands on Brant. Brant's a different person than what he wrestled, what, 3, 4 years ago.
That was 4 years ago
They were
now.
eighth graders, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the
5 years
end of the
ago.
day, like Tyler said, I mean, it's hard to replicate what Bo does to a person.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like and obviously he's felt that before, but they're both, like you said, 5 years ago. They're completely, both of them are completely different wrestlers, right?
More mature.
Brant as well. And if you look at common opponents just within Pennsylvania, I mean, they're almost identical. You
Yeah,
know,
they
like,
probably teched every one of
I mean, this Carter Kane from West Branch, Bo teched him in 53 seconds. Hare teched him in 42 seconds.
them. Yeah,
You know, Bassett teched False Stock from Juniata in 50 seconds. Hare teched him in 47 seconds. Right? I mean, they're both doing the exact same thing to the exact same guys. It's just a matter of what can Brent Hare do to mitigate those attacks from Bo. Bo's a generational talent for sure. We know that, but at the same time, Brant is. I also, and I think you said, Tyler, he's looking at that Joe Bachman match, which I agree. But I also think he's looking at the Luke Stanich matches from freestyle,
Yeah.
because Stanich, you know, I feel like Bo's better at freestyle than he is folk in a lot of ways, and Stanich was able to stifle and stop his attacks. And you know, I'm not a technician by any stretch of the imagination, but I just feel like Stanich he cracked the code a little bit, you know. And shout out to Michael Hills from Reynolds. He said, he texted me and said Louis Gill turned Bo Bassett in the Powerade at least once, maybe twice. So he has given up back points before, but then he scored 25 unanswered points. So, you know,
blind squirrels find nuts every once in a while.
wow, wow. Okay. So moment of truth, fellas. Who you picking?
I mean,
Bassett
I
over
got
Hare.
Bassett.
Yeah, Bassett over Hare. I think. I want to see a good match. I mean, and I think we
it's
are.
8-4.
You think it's 8-4, Tyler?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go 10,
10.
10-5.
10-5. Okay. All right.
I think Bo's gonna get a couple takedowns.
Okay. I don't think Brant's been taken down in like 2 years or like a year at least.
Well, Bo hasn't given up any back points in 5 years either, so I guess.
Well, at least 3 years, right? Yeah, I mean, well, actually, maybe you've gotten taken down by Santor. I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna be I think it has all the potentials to be a phenomenal match, right? Not saying it's like Austin DeSanto, Spencer Lee level, but I mean, if Brant was
I think
able
it's pretty damn close.
I think it's close. I agree. I think it's close. I mean, for sure. It's that close, but I think the difference is, you know, like Spencer he had teched Austin the year before and was, you know, wrestling without an ACL. And
All right, so whenever you were predicting that one, what would you have said the chances were that DeSanto is going to beat Spencer in that match? Would you have said it was 75-25?
Before, yes, I would. Yes, I definitely would have. Just because I knew Spencer was hurt. I mean, I had known that he had a torn ACL for like 2 weeks prior to that. So, I mean, I definitely thought there was a good chance that DeSanto was going to win, just based on the fact that Spencer was literally not able to. I mean, his form of training was swimming, right? I mean, he was not doing anything. And especially when he started that state tournament, he didn't look great. You go back and watch that matchup with Ryan Anderson. Like he didn't look good then, and I thought he was had a good chance to lose. But I don't I Brant Harris, he's gonna have to wrestle the best match of his life to beat Bo. Um, they've both been there, have done that. Um, but I agree with you. I think Bo is definitely favored. But I'm just like you said, Paul. I'm just glad it's happening. I'm glad he's not going down or up. You know, I'm glad they're both at 45, and we get to see this matchup because that's I think what fans want to see, right? I think that's gonna help the sport of wrestling, especially in Pennsylvania. Let's go to 152, where we have who we had just talked about, Joey Bachman from Faith Christian Academy. He is on the bottom half. He's not the quote unquote top seed, and I think that surprises a lot of people, but it's the way that the points work out. Hudson Homan from Grove City, who lost to Bo Bassett in the state finals last year, is the top of the bracket. He's a 3-time state medalist, was 4th as a freshman, 8th as a sophomore, and 2nd last year to Bo Bassett. Joe Bachman, of course, a 2-time state champion, going for his 3rd state championship. He did go down to 145 or 147 for the team tournament, but I don't think it was ever a question that he was going 52, to be honest with you. I feel like he was always going to go 152. Especially, I don't know. I think a lot of people made something out of that. But outside
Well,
of,
I just don't see the reason to go down to 145 for the state duels was. I mean, it's not like it was doing anything for the team.
yeah, I mean, I think the Faith Christian camp would say he did it for the team, you know. But I
For
agree with
what?
you. It doesn't that doesn't really, like, they were going to win even if Joe Bachman wasn't in the lineup. Period. Right?
Yeah, he lost to Bo Bassett and they still won by 30 points.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, I don't think I don't know, but I don't think Joe was ever really going to wrestle 145 for the postseason. Um, what
Did he
first round?
wrestle Music at state duels?
No.
No.
Um, what first round matchups do you like here at 152?
I
I like.
like
Go ahead.
go ahead, Mortar.
I like Boyer and Dixon. And then I also like Byler and Butler.
I like Byler and Butler for sure. Cole Byler is somebody that I feel like coming up through the youth ranks, he was really, really solid. Not saying he hasn't panned out, but this is his first state tournament. Jackson Butler, after Bo went down to 45, goes up to 52. Of course, last year he didn't compete in Hershey. The year prior to that, he was 8th in the state. Lost to Lomason from Bald Eagle. Yeah, I feel like that's a really good first round matchup. Um, Andrews and Materia, I think, is also a good one. That's a 11 versus a 13. And Materia really impressed me at the Midwinter Mayhem. He wrestled Judice really, really tough. I think he probably should have won that match. And Andrews has been kind of back and forth with Shadle a little bit. So, but looking further out to the quarterfinals, Paul, what are some of the matches that you have?
So I think Byler and Butler is a great first round matchup. I think the winner of that goes to the semis.
Okay.
Um, Erdley and Kimmy would probably be my favorite quarterfinal.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Kimmy's looked really good
I
this
think
year. Kimmy's
yeah,
Kimmy's looked
Kimmy just
really good.
he's another one. Whenever he lets it hang out, I mean, he's he's good.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
not scared of anything. He'll give up points to score more. Um, Erdley is more of a slow you down type of person,
Keeping it close.
technician, keep it close. I think he's going to have a hard time doing that against Kimmy. I think Kimmy lets it hang out. He just loves to score points.
He does. I mean, you
That's
can.
why that matchup intrigues me because you have a person that goes out and scores a shitload of points, and then you have a guy like Erdley that likes to slow it down and kind of pick his chances. And score a few points, but just be really strong,
Mm-hmm.
good position, and beat you by a point.
Yeah, and they've had similar results. They've when you look at their comparison, they've all beaten the same guys within same margins. Colton Ryan, for example, early beat 9-4. Kimmy beat 10-7. Victor Bonus early beat him 7-4. Kimmy beat him 8-1. So these guys are very similar in that sense. But I would agree with you. Early's definitely a more slow you down type of guy. Kimmy kind of throws a kitchen sink at you a little bit. What about you, Tyler? What do you see, especially in that first round?
Um, in the first round
Or quarterfinals, early
or in the
rounds before
quarters?
before semifinals.
Um, I definitely like I I like the Kimmy Erdley match. I don't I think Bachman's a favorite. I think Hudson Homan's a favorite. Um, yeah, I think that's really the one quarter that I'm really intrigued by. I think the other three, I have a favorite.
What about the Lomason and Comp match, Tyler? I mean, Comp's a returning state medalist, currently 10th in the state. Lomason is 6th in the state. Beat Jackson Butler. Is that one that you feel like could go either way?
Yeah, I definitely think that's a toss up. I do think I do have comp favored in that one, but I do think that one could go either way.
And I would agree with you. I feel like Bachman is a heavy favorite, not only to make the finals but to win it. But and same with Hudson Homan. I feel like Hudson, the way he's beaten Kimmy the last couple weeks, I feel like he's established himself. But I would not look past Lucas Boyer of Elizabeth Ford. I know he's second, lost to Erdley twice, um, but he's a returning state medalist, right? He looks really good last year in Hershey, finished in sixth place. So you could have a quarterfinals between a second and a sixth place finisher from last year in the quarterfinals with Homan and Boyer.
Yeah.
I like Dixon and Boyer as a good first round matchup. Dixon is somebody that probably doesn't get talked about as much as he probably should, but him and Boyer, I feel like, is a good first round matchup. And if Boyer, or excuse me, if Boyer wins, I feel like him and Homan could be a tight match too.
Yep.
So let's go to picks here. Paul, who do you have making the semifinals and the finals?
I have Homan over Butler in the semis, and then Bachman over Kimmy in the other semi.
Okay. Tyler, same or?
I have Homan over Byler in the semi, and then I have Bachman over Kimmy.
Okay. I have Homan over Shadle of Line Mountain, uh, and Bachman over Kimmy. Bachman and Homan in the finals with Bachman winning. Do you guys assuming
I have
having the same
Bachman.
thing?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I think uh I think people are underplaying Butler. You know, he still has a win over Dalton Perry last year.
Yeah.
He's still a
You gotta
returning
hang.
state place winner.
He's not returning, but
Um,
yes, he is a state place
well,
winner.
yeah, still a state place winner.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I don't know if it's because he went from 145 to 152,
I,
and
I think it's because he lost to Dawson Lomason. I think that's why he lost to Lomason, and you know, I think that set him back. I mean, would you agree? I
yeah, it
mean,
was a yeah,
5-2 match 2 weeks ago, right? I mean, um,
Takedown at the end of the match.
yeah. I mean, I that was not one I was
weird
expecting him to
takedown at the end
lose.
of the match.
I mean, I was not expecting him to lose that match. So the fact that he lost that makes me pause to say, you know, I just don't know. Maybe it is the weight. I can't answer, but Oni beating Victor Bonus eight
Well,
five.
Amundsen went up from 45 also, so
Yeah, because Judice and Bassett both went down. So yeah, I mean, I agree. Those are two close matchups. I think Jackson Butler's can easily. I think Jackson Butler can easily make the semis, and he could potentially make the finals.
He
Um,
could.
it just depends on what Jackson Butler shows up. That's what I'm. Um, there's been times when he's looked really really good, but losing to Lomasin, um, I just that to me I feel like was a big concern for me. But
Yeah, I think the winner of that Byler Butler match makes it to the semis. Um,
Shadle has been looking good over the last couple of weeks, and he's somebody that, but he's been inconsistent at times.
yeah, I
Loses to
mean he's
Andrews,
lost.
then beats Andrews, loses to Dawson Schaefer. He's beaten like Gavin Ryle. He's beaten Owen Wool. Like he's in like shootouts a lot.
Yeah,
But yeah, heck, he could lose to Bumgarger. Like
he's got to
that's
watch out for a headlock.
for real. He does. But I really like Clay Kimmy. I think him and that Joe Nerdley is probably going to be the quarterfinal matchup to watch. But it's a Bachman. It's Bachman's world, right? I mean, it's definitely his weight. And I think Hudson Homan's a clear number 2.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's go to 160, where at the top we have Melvin Miller, who from McCourt is a junior, 2-time state champion. On the bottom half, we have Reagan Milheim from Warrior Run, who is 49-0, a 3-time, he's like Dom Deputy, he's a 3-time state finalist, second, first, and second in his career. Also, we have Jordan Thompson of Bradford, who is the 3rd seed, and Layden Acevedo of Berks Catholic is the 4th seed. So what do you guys like first round matchups? And what do you guys see? Let's start with you, Tyler.
Ones that stick out to me are the 2 in the bottom half with Olson and Wagner, and
Mm-hmm.
then Negron and Ivsic.
Yeah, and Olson and Wagner's a rematch. I don't know if you
It's a
remember.
great
State
match at the
duels.
state duels.
Yeah, that was
Yep.
that was a really good match at state duels. You didn't have that one, Tyler, did you?
Nah.
No. But that was a really good matchup, right? So that was what was it, 11-2? But I feel like it was not that. It was a lot closer than the score indicated. Yeah, it was 11-2 win, but that was a much closer match. Negron and Ivsic, same thing. I mean, those guys have been. Well, I mean, you look at Negron over the last few weeks. I mean, he's wrestled. How many times he's wrestled Acevedo
The
from
last 3 weeks, Acevedo's won 2 of the 3.
2 of the 3, right?
Yep.
Negron and Ivchik, they've split matches. So Ivchik beat him last year in the first round. So these guys are meeting in the first round, right? For literally the second year in a row. I mean,
Yeah.
how many times does that happen where you wrestle the same guy the same round, in 2 different years of Hershey? Negron pinned him at Powerade this season. My gosh, they and Negron's wrestled Acevedo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times in his career, 8 times, and it is,
And he's only a sophomore.
and he's only Negron's only lost to him 1, 2, 3 times. He lost him 3 times out of 8. I mean, these two are just they're neck and neck. But Negron and Ivchik, definitely a good first round matchup. The top half doesn't really. There's nothing on the top half that got me real excited. To be honest with you, do you guys see anything on the top that makes you think like we should be watching out for this?
No.
Not really. I think Melvin and Acevedo are gonna be pretty well into the semifinals.
Although
Okay.
Alec Palco beat Ivchik a few weeks back.
Honestly, he probably should have beat him at the regional tournament.
Should he have?
Yeah, I mean it was a questionable takedown call at the end of the 3rd and 4th place match.
Tyler, did you note that on your evaluation?
Maybe.
So you're saying Acevedo? Do you think Palco has a chance to get in there?
I wouldn't say. I mean, obviously, he has a chance. I don't think he beats Acevedo, but I think I think that would be my favorite first round matchup on the top half.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Um, yeah, I mean, like Colton Ryan and Manival from Midwest, like that to me, like I don't think I think whoever wins, whether it's Acevedo or Palco, I feel like Acevedo has a pretty easy path to the semifinals. Um, where you get rewarded with Melvin Miller. The bottom half is really where all the talent is, in my opinion, because you have Jordan Thompson, you have Doug McKim, who really just fell apart a little bit at regionals. And then you have Ewan Olson and Shane Wagner. I mean, McKim could end up making the semifinals. I think Jordan Thompson is probably favored to come out of that top the top half of the bottom half, right? Jordan Thompson, a state fifth place finisher last year, number 3 in the state. But if you look at the state rankings, it's Thompson 3, Olson 4, Acevedo 5, Negron 6, Ivchik 7, Wagner 8. So of all the people in the top 10, you've got 6 all in the bottom half there, right? So, what happened to Doug McKim last week at regionals, Paul?
Um, I think it was a good bracket. He gave up some points where he typically wouldn't. Um, I don't know. I wouldn't really say anything happened to him.
I mean, he
I
lost
just
to
think it
Matt
was
Dana from Quaker
I
Valley.
know. I just think it was a freshman wrestling in his first regional tournament. Kind of had a little bit of a freshman bump, but I mean, it was a fairly good weight class in your top five.
No,
You know,
it definitely was. I mean,
top six.
he beat Ewan Olson at Panther Holiday, loses to him at regionals, right? Um, loses to Ivchik, and then loses to Dana, right? 7-2, which I don't think he should have lost to Dana, right?
No, I don't. I bet he beats him 9 out of 10 times.
Right. So
It's a
that to
semi
me,
slide
it's a
too.
semi. Yeah,
You
right. I mean, so if you
He
attribute
lost in
that,
that semifinal round. It's hard to come back.
especially when you have quality kids like Owen
Ivchik
Ivchik
and then
and
yep.
And
Dana.
you're a freshman.
Yeah, yeah. So all I'm saying is he didn't have the best of weekends, right? When
No, no.
typically we've been seeing him have really good weekends, like at the Panther Holiday Classic. He loses to Colin Ryan twice and then beats him at the Thomas Tournament 12-4, right? Um, so to me, obviously something happened for him to drop to 6th when I had a lot of people. I think all 3 of us would say he had a really good chance to make the finals of the regional tournament, and he falls to 6th.
Yeah,
So now he
yeah.
sets
I
himself
just
up.
think he had a semi slide from a freshman.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah. Well,
not
now
usually used to losing.
for sure. Um, so now if he wins, he gets Jordan Thompson. Jordan Thompson, very solid. But that quadrant, Thompson, McKim, Olson, and Wagner, is just really good.
Yeah.
4 really just solid guys. That's one of the best quadrants in all of the brackets here. Tyler, I'll start with you. Is who do you have coming out of that?
Um. All right. I'm gonna go Wagner over Thompson into the semis,
Hmm.
and then I'm gonna go Milheim over Negron in the quarters on that bottom
So you're gonna have
half.
Negron beating Ivchik.
Or yeah, Negron over Ivchik, and then Milheim over Negron.
Paul, what do you got?
I got the same thing.
I have Thompson over Wagner. I have Thompson. I have Thompson beating McKim. I have Wagner beating Olson. Thompson beating. Thompson and Wagner wrestling in the quarterfinals. I have Negron versus. I have Negron over Ivchik. I have Milheim making it to the quarterfinals. I have Milheim and Thompson making the semifinals. Did you guys say who you made in semifinals?
Yeah, I got Wagner and Milheim in the semis.
And you
Yeah,
have
Wagner,
Wagner and Milheim.
Milheim, Acevedo, and Miller. I feel like Shane Wagner has to be the best wrestler to only wrestle as a senior at states with 66 wins.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just crazy. I don't know. I just think he's a wild card that everybody should know, but they don't because he hasn't had the clout, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's been. I mean, you remember at True Power when he wrestled Melvin Miller, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Hmm.
he's obviously a very talented wrestler. He was just behind some really good wrestlers to begin with, right? So,
Yeah.
um, I think this is, you look at common opponents between Thompson and Wagner. Thompson has beaten Ewan Olson 4-1. Wagner beat him 11-2. Um, I think Wagner's right there for sure. I think I could see Wagner making the semifinals, no problem. I guess I was a little surprised that he lost to Nicky Negron after he beat him at the state dual tournament. He beat him 2-1 in tiebreaker after beating Olson, and then lost to him in the regional tournament. So I don't know. I that to me, that Olson and Wagner match is going to be closer than what the score indicated last time. But I feel like Thompson, um, he's been on a tear. So what about the top half? Melvin Miller versus Acevedo. Is that what you all had?
Yeah, I have Acevedo over Ryan, and then I have Melvin over Tuberville.
Is that what you
Yeah,
have,
same
Paul?
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I got the same thing with Miller making the finals against Milheim. I mean, I feel like we have to mention that Reagan Milheim is one of the best wrestlers in the history of Pennsylvania, but probably is only
Yep.
ever going to have one state title.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
he just so happens to be behind uh, Melvin Miller 2 separate years. I guess the question is, can is this going to be a competitive match?
I don't think so. I mean,
No,
I
I
think it'll
mean,
be competitive, but I mean, I still think it's a 9-3, 11-3, something like that.
Right. Yeah, I would say it's not going to be a tech. I don't think he's gonna. I don't. I mean, I'm sure Melvin is going to want to go out and get a tech fall over a guy like Reagan Milheim, but it was 11-2 last year in the state finals. I expect it to be somewhere around the same, maybe
yep.
a little bit more, maybe. But I mean, Reagan Milheim he's pretty damn tough.
Yeah, he's better than most.
192-9 in his career. His only loss over the last 2 years was to Melvin Miller. Um,
Pretty
so
good.
yeah, that's pretty solid. Lost to Anthony Evaninsky in the finals as a freshman, then won it over Barvitsky in the finals as a sophomore. So yeah, he's got a pretty good track record. 160, I'm looking forward to. 160 is a really good weight. Um, let's go up to 172, where we have Gage Wenzel from Montoursville at the top. He's a top ranked, top seeded wrestler. He is a 3-time state medalist, was fifth as a freshman, fourth as a sophomore, and a runner up last year to Nick Singer, who's on the bottom half. So, again, kind of a weird weight where you have the champion, returning state champion, Nick Singer. He's on the bottom half. The guy he beat in the finals is on the top half. Nick Singer, the second seed, nationally ranked guy, state champion last year. Then you have Cash Morrell from Cochranton. He is the third seed. And Emery Gumby from Bishop McCourt is the fourth seed. I was shocked that Gumby was able to beat Mason Horwat because Horwat had been looking so good all season. Um, Horwat is a 2-time state medalist, was sixth as a freshman, fourth last year. He loses, so now he's going to have, to me, one of the best first round matchups is Mason Horwat and Nolan Savage. Right now Nolan Savage is 5 in the state, Horwat is 7. That's mainly because Savage has a win over Gunby, and Horwat just lost to him. So, Tyler, what are some of the first round matchups that you have that are must see?
I agree with the Horwat Savage match, and then I think that pigtail round, Mitch Bailey and Rocco Reefer will be a good match. Um, and then Rocco Allegretto and Vinny Fugazotto.
Paul, anything else?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite first round matchup is the um Horwat Savage, but a close second I don't think they're on the same level per se, but Allegretto and Fugazzotto would be my second.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And outside of that, I feel like everything there's maybe Sam Harrington and Hans Guilfoyle. Sam Harrington is somebody that we've seen quite a bit this year. He's a sophomore, state qualifier last year. Guilfoyle, that's a 9 versus 10. Guilfoyle is a sophomore making his first state tournament. So both these guys are young. I like that first round matchup between these two sophomores. Um, the question I have is, can Gumby, like, he kind of sets himself up pretty nice in the bracket, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he's away from a lot of he's not near Max Wernsberger. If I'm Cash Morrell, I'm a little ticked because I'm on the same quadrant as Max Wernsberger. Max Wernsberger is a 2-time state medalist. Cash Morrell is a qualifier. They're 3 and 4 in the state. So to me, Cash Morrell is that's going to be a tough matchup with Wernsberger.
Yeah, definitely. Totally different styles again.
Yeah, I mean, Cash is a throw him. he's a toss him type of guy. Um, all right, Tyler, what do you have? Who do you have coming out?
All
Quarterfinals
right,
and semifinals.
I got Wenzel over Allegretto, and then I'm gonna go Gumby over Guilfoyle,
Mm,
and then I'm gonna go Wernsberger over Morel, and then I'm gonna go Singer over Horwat.
Singer over Horvat. Okay, Paul, what do you got?
I have Wenzel over Fugazzotto, Gunby over Harrington, Wernsberger over Morel, and then Singer over Horwat.
Okay, so I have Singer. I'll start at the top. Wenzel. I have Wenzel over Allegretto. I have Gumby over Harrington. Gumby did pin Harrington at the Midwinter Mayhem third place match this year, so I got to go with him, especially after beating Mason Horwat. I have Wernsberger over Morel and Singer over Horwat. Semifinals, I've got Wenzel and Gunby, and Wenzel making the finals. I have Singer and Warrensberger, with Singer making the finals for a rematch. Do you guys have the same?
I have the
Yep.
same.
Nick Singer winning it?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and you remember that last match last year, right? Almost was not. I mean, because there was, what was it, a slam, right? There was that
Yeah, it was belly to
Yep.
back.
it was belly to back, right? It was a. I remember looking at a picture there. I'm like, oh man, like this is we're going there, right? I think he's got to be careful. But Wenzel's been. I feel like Gage Wenzel is somebody that has been very consistent this year. Now, like I feel like he's been pretty consistent, beating Warrensberger a couple times. It was 12-3 major decision last time, so obviously I think Singer is the favorite, but I think it could be a competitive match.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know?
I got Singer by 6+.
Yeah. All right,
He's
Paul.
solid.
Appreciate your enthusiasm. It's really bringing up the tempo here. Appreciate that. Um, let's go to 189, shall we? Where we have Adam Waters, who is a 3-time state champion, going for his 4th state champion as the top seed. Kyle Scott of Tyrone is your number 2 seed. He is a 2-time state medalist, was 8th and 4th in the last 2 years. And you have Hayden Harvey of Montoursville as the 3rd, and Hunter Cox from Greenville as the 4th. First round matchups that you guys like. I'll start with you, Tyler.
First round, I got Struchin and Boyd.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Boyd's been really solid
Fugazzotto.
this year.
Yeah, Boyd's been solid. I'm Pensiero and Harvey kind of intrigues me if depends how healthy Pensiero is.
And that was going to be my question to both of you: is how healthy is Pensiero? I know he
I
forfeited.
know he's injury defaulted a couple matches. But yeah, a healthy CJ Pensiero and Hayden Harvey, I think's a good first round match. And then Duke Martin and Jaden Imler.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely have Duke Martin and Jaden Imler. Imler is a state qualifier from last year. So is Duke Martin. Both are juniors. They're ranked 8 and 9 in the state. So 8 and 9 right out of the gate is pretty intriguing to me. Paul, what about you? Anything? And what can you tell us about CJ Pensiero?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Martin Imler match is going to be very tightly contested. Um, Pensiero, I mean, I think he's getting there, but I don't think he's there.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever, I mean, if he is healthy, or I mean, obviously, I know he's not going to be healthy, but I don't think we have to worry about him injury defaulting for anything until or if he gets to the placing rounds.
Okay.
Um, I mean, when he's healthy and ready to go, he's fun to watch. You
Yeah,
know,
he's good.
he's another one that will give up points to score more points.
Yeah, he'll
Yeah.
let it fly.
Yeah, he lets it fly, and it
Gavin
scares a
Boyd.
lot of people. He's small.
Gavin Boyd is somebody that intrigues me a lot. He's a two-time national prep qualifier from Biglerville, and he's had a pretty darn good season thus far. Um, he was in a tough Southeast region because you had Adam Waters and Luke Fugazato. Fugazato is somebody who was two-time state medalist, second as a sophomore in 2024 and seventh last year. Um, I feel like that quadrant with Harvey and Fugazoto is just a barn burner. Hayden Harvey has wrestled really, really well this year. I give Fugazoto the edge a little bit, but I feel like that's a really probably one of the best quarterfinals of the bracket for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think the bottom half is interesting. You know, you have Harvey versus Pensiero in the round of 16. I have Harvey coming out of that just
Okay.
because he's more healthy against Fugazoto. And then, I mean, if you think about the Boyd and Scott matchup, I think that could be fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
do you feel like Kyle Scott has separated himself from the rest of the field after beating Brady Brown a couple
I
times?
do, I do. Um, I have Scott coming out of the bottom half over Fugazoto in the semis,
Mm-hmm.
but I still think that bottom half is like super interesting. I think Waters being in the top half kind of makes it not as interesting. Although there are some really good matchups, I just think he's really separated himself.
Well, yeah, he's on a
But
completely different playing field than the rest of.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So I think it makes you not pay attention to the top as much.
for
You
sure. I
know?
mean, it's easy to dismiss it and say, well, Adam Waters is just going to completely dominate. So why are we even looking at the top half when
Yeah,
that's not necessarily fair? But I would agree with you because you have Brady Brown, you have Cade Feger from Line Mountain, who's a really solid freshman, Hunter Cox, um, who's also a very solid junior, who is making his first trip after finishing fifth in the region twice in his first 2 years. But I agree. I think Adam Waters is obviously the clear favorite on the top half. That bottom half, though, um, with Harvey, Fugazoto, Boyd, and Scott, there's so much more competition on there. I just think Kyle Scott has. I feel pretty confident picking Kyle Scott to make the finals. I have Scott beating Boyd in the quarterfinals. I have Fugazoto beating Harvey and Scott beating Fugazoto to make the finals. I have Adam Waters beating Duke Martin. I have Brady Brown beating Hunter Cox. Waters beating Brown to make the finals, and Waters over Kyle Scott for the championship. They wrestled last year in the state semifinals. Waters beat him 21-5. What do you guys got?
I got the
yeah,
exact same thing.
yeah. Same,
You got the
exact
same
same.
thing? Exact same.
Yep.
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 Man, we're getting towards the end of the show. I can tell. Our energy level's low.
I
All right.
I had Imler over Duke Martin.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. So you didn't have the exact
I
same.
actually have Imler over Duke Martin too. I was just talking about like what you're
Oh,
saying for
okay.
the
But don't you
semifinals.
have Harvey over Fugazada? Or so I thought someone said they had Harvey over
No,
Fugazada.
I have
No,
Fugazzotto over
Fugazzotto.
Harvey.
Okay.
Yeah, I have
Uh,
Harvey over Pensiero.
okay. All right. That makes sense. Well, let's go up to 215 pounds. We have Aiden Bliss of Port Allegheny. Somebody who I feel like probably because he goes to Port Allegheny doesn't get talked about nearly as much. He
Agreed.
actually beat Kyle Scott in the third and fourth place match last year, which I feel like for him to finish third was a really big accomplishment for Aiden Bliss out of Port Allegheny. He is the top of the bracket. At the bottom half of the bracket is Landon Erdman from Huntington, who is the quote second seed. Third seed Landon Tucker, who is 43-1 out of Mifflinburg, and then Cale Widemore, the number one ranked wrestler in the state, who's been ranked number one all year. He's the guy who he's a two-time state medalist. He was third as a freshman, second as a sophomore, was injured all of last year, then gains about 40 pounds and goes up to 215 pounds, where he is the top-ranked wrestler in the state. But it really adds some, I guess, it makes the bottom half a little bit more wide open, I guess, but it also makes a potential finals match happen in the semifinals, right? Because I think Bliss and Widemore are clearly the two best guys here, in my opinion. I feel like there's no one else that's on the level of Widemore or Bliss. But first round matchups, guys, do you have any that you have circled? Paul, start with you.
Yeah, so I have Tucker and Quick, and then I also have uh Gordon and Quentin.
Mm. Tyler?
Um, McGraw and Lattimore.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I
McGraw had a
also
good
had Quick.
McGraw had a good regional tournament.
Yeah, that regional tournament was kind of whacked, I thought, but um, Quick and Tucker, um, Schwalm and Lehue as well.
Yeah, Lehu's been looking good. Schwalm's he's been solid, making his first trip to Hershey. But I really do favor, like I don't think Bliss is gonna have any problems making the semifinals. I
No,
Yeah,
think
me either.
Lattimore here either.
I have Lehue beating Schwalm and Bliss beating Lehue to make the semifinals. I have Gordon over Quinton. I have Widemore over Arrington, and then Widemore over Gordon to make the semifinals for a finals matchup in the semifinals. And on the bottom half, though, things get a little bit more interesting, right? You got Landon Tucker, you got Landon Erdman, the battle of the Landons. We saw that match happen, all three of us live. But you also have Colton Tupper from Reynolds, who had a really good offseason, wrestled at Super 32, wrestled to a placement match there. He's making his first trip to Hershey. He's been banged up in his career. What do you guys like on that bottom half?
Yeah, I mean you said it. I think Tucker has looked really good all year. He looked really good against Erdman in the Panther Holiday Classic finals.
Yeah, wasn't it a
I
major
think
decision? Wasn't it a major?
yeah,
I
yeah,
forget what the score was, but it was definitely a major, right?
yes. And Colton Tupper, like you said, I mean he's kind of your wild card, you know. He's never
Mm,
been to the state tournament, but he's placed at Super 32. First trip to states is always tough. Especially I would imagine as a senior.
mm.
I think Landon Tucker and Quick right off the gate is, I mean, even Quick and Carlson. I
I was
mean,
going to say
uh,
Quick and Carlson is even a good match because
yeah,
I don't think Quick's a now in his third trip to Hershey, but honestly I don't think, and Tyler correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think Quick had the best of regional tournaments finishing fifth. Obviously it was a little bit deeper there, but like you said, it was all whack. It was all
Yeah, there were a lot of results that I didn't anticipate to happen at that regional. But
I,
yeah, I think this bottom half's kind of wide open with who can make the final. Depends who shows up.
I really do too. I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think between I have Tucker going to the finals, but I was kind of going back and forth looking at common opponents and everything. I think Tucker has put together a really good season.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I mean, like we said, Tupper plays at Super 32. It's one of
Yeah.
the toughest tournaments out there.
Well,
So, um,
Andy wrestled Bliss tough in the regional final. I think it was 13-7.
yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, I really think that bottom half. I think you could see four different guys in the finals there.
I think Logan Lattimore too. Logan Lattimore is
Yeah,
somebody who has had a very good season to date, and he's got some good results over some of these guys, right? I think Lattimore is somebody that should he win his first round matchup, him against Landon Erdman, that's a really good matchup. I mean, you look at it on paper, Lattimore is number 5 in the state, Erdman is 7. So Erdman being a regional champion, he's a number 7th ranked guy in the state going into it. You know,
yeah.
so I think that kind of adds some intrigue. So um, I actually have Lattimore beating McGraw, Erdman beating Fox. No, actually, I have Grove. I have Grove winning that one. Um, Erdman over Grove. Lattimore beating Erdman, making the semifinals. I have Tucker beating Quick, Tupper beating Miller, and then I have Tucker, not Tupper, Tucker beating Tupper to make the semifinals. Boy, say that 10 times. Um, what do you guys have on the bottom half? Because I think the top half is we already know what we're gonna pick. So what do you guys have on the bottom half?
Yeah, so I have Tucker over Quick, Tucker over Tupper. I have Lattimore over Erdman,
Mm.
and then I have Tucker over Lattimore.
Tyler.
I'm going Tupper over Tucker,
Mm-hmm.
Lattimore over Erdman, Tupper over Lattimore.
No love for your Southwest regional guys. Landon Erdman being disrespected all over the place. I mean, none of us picked him, but I mean, I wouldn't. Again, I think I'll make an asterisk here that seriously, it would not shock me if any of these wrestlers, Tucker, Quick, Carlson, Tupper, Miller, Lattimore, Erdman, made the finals or made the semifinals.
No.
Like honestly, like if Quick wrestles like he did at Midwinter Mayhem, like he can make the semifinals. Um,
Yeah, I mean he lost Lattimore in sudden victory.
yep, yep. Um, so I just think it's I go with so I have Tucker beating Lattimore to go to the finals. I just think Landon Tucker's just been he's only a sophomore. He was already at Hershey before, and he's been so consistent throughout his career. He was a really good youth wrestler. I feel like this is his year, and he's gonna take that opportunity to have more of a wide open bottom half of the bracket. But it's not going to be easy, right? I mean, Tucker, Lattimore, Erdman. I mean, we're talking about guys that can all make it to the finals. At the top half, I think we all have Bliss versus Widemore. So who do you have winning that matchup?
I have Lattimore beating Bliss, and I think it's going to be a good match. I don't know how Lattimore got so big in the offseason. I mean, he
He's huge.
is humongous.
He's humongous. Yeah, he's huge.
I mean, it's crazy how big he got.
Yeah, yeah. Tyler?
I also have Wadimoyer winning the state championship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have Widemore beating Bliss and making it to the finals and winning it over Tucker. But that Widemore Bliss match, I feel like could go a lot of different ways. I just think having seen Widemore wrestle at that level, like I feel like at first part of the season, when a guy jumps up that much weight, it's hard to really say where he's going to be if he's the same wrestler. But after watching him at Iron Man, and some of the bigger tournaments, I feel like he's just really established himself as a good 215 pounder, and let's not forget he's somebody who's been in the state finals before, so he's been there, done that, right? Um, so I think we all have Widemore over Tucker. Did we all have Tucker in the finals?
I had Tupper.
Tupper, yeah, you had Tupper. Paul and I had Tucker. That's gonna screw me up all week. Whittemore winning it. Our final weight class, 285 pounds. It's what all the fans are waiting for us to hear. Is 285. At the top, you have Mark Effendian, who is a returning state runner-up. Lost to Rowan Holmes in the finals. He's at the top half. On the bottom half, you have Colin White of West Green, who's the returning state fourth place finisher. And at the third seed, you have Luke Solano of Williamson and the fourth seed, Owen Nickerson of Corey. Um, First round matchups, I like Casey Wilson and Noah Johnson. Casey Wilson, number 4 in the state. Noah Johnson, number 11. I think that could be a tight matchup. Um, Obviously, because it's heavyweight. Also, Caleb Rodriguez, and Braylon Smith. When you look at the depth of heavyweight, you got Effendian, who was second, White, who was fourth, Rodriguez, who was third, Casey Wilson was sixth. Then you have Caleb Tyler, Savage, Sotolano, Gutshaw were all state qualifiers. So was Reed Palmer. So guys that have been there before, right? Do you guys have any first round matchups that you're looking forward to outside of Noah Johnson, Casey Wilson? Anything that stands out?
Yeah, Sotolano and Daniel Williams.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be a solid match.
Nickerson Gutshaw.
Nickerson, Gutshaw,
Yeah, Gutshaw can beat anybody
Geiger
1-0.
and Savage.
Yeah. I even think Spalding and Tyler too.
Mm-hmm.
Spalding's not
Spalding's
bad.
big.
He's huge, right? I think Colin White and Caleb Rodriguez. Do you feel like Colin White separated himself from Rodriguez a little bit?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, they've split matches this year, right?
Colin White looks like a college wrestler. Just his size.
Paul, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, he looks super solid over the weekend.
Yeah. I mean, he's 2-1 against Rodriguez. 2 matches last year they split, and then White beat him. He beat him 1-0 this year in the finals. I mean, was that a coin flip match, or what? What do you guys think of how tight that was? Could that go? I mean,
No,
obviously that could go either way.
He controlled it for the most part.
Okay. For me, like a guy like Owen Nickerson won a pretty weak Northwest region. Like, I don't think there was a lot of depth in the Northwest. I feel like the Southeast and Northeast were much stronger. And Southwest, obviously, with Casey Wilson, and guys like Colin White, Daniel Williams is another one. 2-time state qualifier prior to last year after being injured. Him and Sotolano, like you said, Paul, that's a really good first round matchup. If that happens. So let's go picks. Tyler, what do you have on the top half quarterfinals and the semifinals?
I have Effendian over Johnson, and then I have Rodriguez over Gutshaw.
And then who do you have making the semis?
I have Effendian over Rodriguez in the semi.
Okay. And Paul, what do you got on that top half?
So I have Effendian over Wilson in the quarters,
Mhm.
and then I have Rodriguez over Nickerson,
Okay.
and then Effendian beating Rodriguez.
So I have Effendian over Wilson. I have Rodriguez over Gutshaw. I have Gutshaw beating Miller, and then a Gutshaw beating Nickerson. Rodriguez beating Gutshaw. Effendian over Rodriguez to make the state finals. The bottom half, I feel like could go 9 or 10 different ways, right? That Williams Sotolano matchup is one for sure. Taylor Spalding. I think Savage is favored in his matchup, but what do you guys have on the bottom half?
Go ahead.
I have Williams over Sotolano, and then Williams over Tyler.
Mm.
And then I have Savage versus White, and White beating Savage, and then White making it to the finals.
So White over
Williams.
Williams. Okay. And Tyler, what do you have on the bottom half?
I have Sotolano over Williams, Tyler over Spalding, Savage over Digert, White over Palmer, and then I have White over Digert, and then
Oh, you have Digert over
Tyler.
Savage.
Or no, I meant Savage. Savage. White over Savage,
Okay.
and then Tyler over Sotolano.
So I have the same thing, except I have Tyler over Williams. So I have Daniel Williams beating Sotolano. I have Tyler beating uh, Williams. I have Savage beating Digert. White beating Palmer. White beating Savage. And then White versus Williams in the semifinals. I have White beating Williams and Offendian beating White in the finals. I'm assuming you guys have the same thing.
Yeah, I think if Offendian wins by fall.
Yeah, I mean, Offendian's is way ahead of the rest of the field here, right? I mean, I
Yep.
don't think there's any
Yeah,
question.
he teched Rodriguez at the state duels.
Yeah, I mean, I still can't believe he lost last year to Rowan Holmes, to be honest with you.
I
And
don't think he can either.
he probably can't, but I feel as though Offendian is probably going to have the most falls and least amount of time potentially, because he's just that good. I mean, he's number 5 in the nation right now. Um, Colin White is good, but I don't think he's on that level quite yet. So,
No.
well, guys, we made it. We made it through for the entire double A bracket. Thank you guys for being here and going over 2 hours of breaking down the state tournament for double A, and looking forward to the action starting on Thursday. We're gonna be doing a triple A preview show tomorrow night, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully it's a little bit shorter than tonight. The three of us get together and we love talking wrestling. So Paul, we'll see you in Hershey.
I will see you there.
You already turned your camera off. I guess you're shirtless or something. You don't want us to see you.
As
Tyler,
long as I'm still able to get my press pass.
yeah, you should be all right. You should be cool.
That's good.
I think you'll make the cut. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun week. Well, thank you guys. Again, we have updated state rankings on Rockfin. We've got a lot of things coming out. We've got the state tournament rankings, so we go through all 20 wrestlers and rank them kind of pound for pound in each weight class. Our top 30 includes wrestlers that didn't necessarily qualify for Hershey. We're going to have storylines to watch and a lot of fun stuff coming up. So, yeah, looking forward to it, guys. Appreciate your help tonight.
Thanks,
No
Jeff.
problem.
Yep.